Today we are loading up our final test of the White River primers in 45 ACP with small pistol primers, and that's coming up next year on Jesse B Outdoors Reloading. Welcome back everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. First off, I'd like to thank once again Republic Ammunition for getting a new set of primers in for us to try out. We got the White River primers here and they're made in the USA, and that's one reason why I wanted to try these out. What we are doing is we're trying this out in different calibers to see how they work. We've loaded them up so far 9mm, 38 Special, and 40 Smith & Wesson. 38 Special and 40 Smith & Wesson, I had a little bit of issues with the hand primer. Now, I'm still trying to decide if that's my hands. If you don't follow the channel, I have a muscle disease, so it's starting to affect my hands, so I don't know if I got the hand strength still to get them in good. So I want to really look forward to trying them out in 45 ACP, because usually I never have an issue putting primers in with a hand primer. So what we're going to do in this video, sorry about that, is we're going to prime them up here, and then we're going to show you what components we're going to use to load these up, and then we're going to load them here on the Lee Classic turret press. So let's get started. Now we're going to get these loaded up here. We'll get my Frankfurt Arsenal tray here. I use a Frankfurt Arsenal hand primer, and we're going to pull these out of the tray here. And you can see we've got 49 in here. I actually made one round up already because I had to set my dies up. So we will test the rest of these out here. We'll flip these over. Always make sure if you're hand priming, you got your gate closed. We'll take those off of there. And ooh, we flipped that one over and look, they are actually perfect. That like never happens. So we'll put this back on here. Now if you got a Frankfurt Arsenal hand primer like I do, make sure this top is on there nice and tight, because if you don't, these primers will flip on you. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to put this back over here, get this in my hand primer, and if you don't follow the channel, what I normally do is I'm going to scroll up on this a little bit here, is I hand prime about 5 of these on camera for you guys, and then I fast forward through it, because who wants to sit there and watch somebody hand prime 50 cases? To me, that's kind of boring. So what I do is I'm just going to hand prime these, the first 5, and give you my impressions, and then we'll fast forward through all of them. That one was a little tight there. The first one was good. And if I have any issues in between, I stop and tell you guys. And then at the end, I tell you my final thoughts on priming these by hand. So these are the first 5. And the one I already made up, I did on the press. These 5 right here, this one right here was a little bit snug, but the rest of them went in just fine. So I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this, and then we'll be back. Alright, we're coming up on the last 4 here. And if you guys follow the channel, you know that seems like every time I come back, I get a primer behind the other one. There we go. And I can't get them in. We got live footage going on here. We don't hide nothing on this channel. But these are going in a lot smoother like the 9mm did. I don't know why 38 Specials and the 40s, some of them were so dang tight that I had issues with. These ones went in pretty much smoothly like the 9mm did. So I really don't know if it's my hands being bad, or if it's just the primer pockets on the 38 Special and the 40 Smith & Wesson. But these ones went in a lot smoother than what they did in the 38 Special and 40 Smith & Wesson. These were like the 9mm. So I think for hand priming, they can go either way. Now the ones I've done on my press, like this first one here, and the ones I fixed that were sticking out after I hand primed them and had issues on the press, I really didn't notice that much of a difference. You had to put a little bit more oomph into it. But for my final thoughts on priming, I don't really think they're going to be that bad. It just depends on your brass. Now let's go over the components we're going to be using in today's video. Powder, we're going to be using HP 38. This is one of my favorite semi-auto powders to use here. Now I've had people ask me to start giving out my data on it that I'm using. So what I'm going to do is this is my disclaimer. I had one at the beginning of the video and I'm going to say it now. This is what I use in my guns. Do your own load data test and your own ladder test to figure out what works in your gun. I am not reliable for what you do with your gun. Now that's over with. I use 5.2 grains in my guns, and I'm not giving you my case overall length because that has changed in this video. If you guys don't know, this barrel is out of my Smith & Wesson 45, and I'll leave a card up here. I was testing TruthSocial primers, and I was having a bunch of failure to feed issues, so I adjusted my overall length to try to accommodate for that in this video to see if it works. So this is actually going to be a test video when we do the shooting part on my other channel to see if I got my overall length correct for this barrel yet. And then the bullet we are using for this test is my Lee 452 230 TC bullet. I love casting these up. They're powder coated and Ford light blue. I like to thank Andy79Z28. He sent some lead out to the channel, and that's what I made these bullets up with. So that's all the components that we're using. So let's get started reloading here. And as usual, on the first one here, I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing, and I'm going to do a powder check to make sure my powder is where I need it. So the first station here, this right here is our decapping resizing die. But because I've already primed, I took the decapping pin out. We're going to go down, and now this moved over to the powder through expanding die here. But we're going to zero out our scale here real quick and get a powder charge. So now this drops the powder and it flares the case mouth so the bullet will fit in it. And we will check. And this is dead on here at 5.2. Then we go down, that moves it over to the bullet seating and crimping die. But I only set mine up to seat because I do mine in two different steps. So we're going to seat the bullet, come down, it switches over to the crimping die, which mine is a Lee factory crimp die. And then we're going to crimp it. Then here's the first round on camera that we got done there. Grab our barrel, do the plunk test. Gotta love that sound. It'll spin in there, and that's what you want so the bullet ain't touching the rifling and it drops right out. That's the plunk test right there. That's what you really want to do, is hear that plunk as you drop it and then fall right out when you tip it upside down. So now that we're all good on that, we will finish up these rounds here. And if you don't follow the channel, I always like people to know I do 25 rounds this way, then I do a powder check, and then I move the camera to a different angle. That way you guys don't have to get tired of looking at just this angle and my hand going back and forth. A lot of people like seeing the press in action, so I try to do a couple of different angles on that. And also, if you don't follow the channel, when I reload, we just yap about stuff. And we're doing 45 ACP here. And like I said earlier, I had feeding issues with this in my Smith & Wesson in the TruthSocial primer test video. So I think it had to do with overall length. I actually think I might have had it too short. I was under what the book calls for, but when we do a plunk test like I just showed you, I'm trying to make it around to work in my gun. And that's what you really want to do. So I actually, something just fell down there. So I actually increased my overall case length on this because the way this bullet is designed, I think it was too short and not hitting the feed ramps right. So that's why I made a change on this. That's one thing I like about reloading my own ammo is I can custom make my ammo to work in my guns. That's why I always do disclaimer. What works in my guns might not work in your guns, so don't copy what I do. Even though my load data is in the book, not all my specs are to the book. And that's why I always say that in there. And pretty much most of the time on most of my videos, if I do give the grains, I never give my case overall length because I want to leave one thing out so nobody can come back on me. Now let's talk about the 45 Smith & Wesson that we're going to use to shoot these in. I might be thinking about putting that gun on the chopping block. It's a good gun, don't get me wrong. But the one thing I really don't like about it, more than likely I'm going to have my gun review of it up on my main channel. And you guys will see in that video. My main complaint about that gun is the texture of it is way too aggressive. And it tears my hands up shooting it. I would rather shoot my Ruger SR 1911 than that. And that one thing bugs me enough that I'm thinking about getting rid of it. And also, I don't like the trigger on it. Yeah, I can change the trigger, but I don't know. I don't want to waste money on a trigger and stuff if I don't enjoy the grip. There's stuff I could do to it. But I'd rather just get a different 45 ACP. I do still have my Ruger SR 1911, and I love shooting that thing. But I've been doing in these tests, I've been trying to do striker fire, because to me, striker fire ain't as strong as a hammer fired. So that's how I want to test these primers out. So what I was thinking about doing is if I do get rid of that Smith & Wesson. Oh, and the other complaint I have about it, it's only 10 rounds. When everybody else has like 13 rounds or more. I know you can buy 14 round magazines for it, but they're like 50 bucks. I'm not doing that. So I'm thinking about putting that on the chopping block. If you guys follow the channel, you know I got a lot of Glock clones and Glocks, and I shoot them pretty decent. I don't know, I might get a Glock 21, and if I did that, I would do the same thing I did with my Glock 22 and get a police trade-in, because that seems to be the best way to go. I really don't like Springfield guns, because I don't like the grip safeties on it like the 1911. I just, you know, if I decide to carry it, a lot of people say that it don't matter when you're carrying, but to me, in a stressful situation, you might not grab the grip right to click that safety off. And that's one thing I worry about. So on that, on the Springfields, I'm like a no-go on that. The one I would love to have is the FN45 Tactical. That hammer-fired one. I can't remember. That holds like 14 or 15 rounds or something like that. To me, that looks like a bad mamma jamma of a 45 double stack. It's hammer fired, but you can do it cocked and locked, or just have the hammer drop for double action. But man, they're like, what, $1,200–$1,300, so there's no way I could afford that. So I kind of want to stick with striker fire. But with striker fire, it's like the only cheap way to go. Besides the Smith, actually the Smith that I have is the tan one, and it came with a true glow sights and everything from the factory, so money wise it's actually more than a Glock 21, just a plain Jane one. But I think I'm going to end up getting a Glock 21 just for the simple fact I shoot them good, I'm used to them, and it holds more rounds. But leave a comment down below if it's not a Smith & Wesson 45 ACP or a 1911. What is your guys' favorite 45 ACPs to shoot? Like I said, I got the Smith & Wesson. I'm just, great gun. It's just not for me. And like I said, I already ruled out the Springfields because I don't like the grip safeties. So leave that comment down below. What's your favorite 45 ACP to shoot? If there's something out there I don't know about, maybe I'll look into it. Because more than likely, if I do get rid of the Smith, that money is going to go right back towards another 45 ACP striker fire. So leave that comment down below. And so far, these things are going nice and smoothly here, just like they always do with this press. You know, there's a couple things I don't like about this press, but overall, I highly recommend it to people. As I say in every video, don't matter if you're a new reloader or you've been reloading for years, this is a great press. Only issues I have with it, I think the priming system on it sucks. That's just me. And the only thing I have ever broke on it is the ratchet system down here. That ratchets this, it turns the turrets, which that's a common problem. It's just a little thin square plastic piece. And as I said before, if I order something online from somewhere that has them, they're only $1 and some change for that little replacement ratchet. So I got a few of them on hand in case it does break. But if you guys ever seen one of my lighter tests, I'll leave one up here if you haven't. You can check that card out after the video. And you can see that I actually pull this rod out when I'm doing ladder tests. And I use it like a single stage. So like I said, all in all, if you guys want me to do a review video on the actual press, leave a comment down below. And I can probably work that out for you. I've got this video and I want to load up some 357 Magnums on it. And then I'm going to take this press down. If you guys haven't seen the picture I posted on here on my social media, I actually got my wife's grandpa's Lyman. It says ST on the side, but it's a Spar T turret press from way back in the 50s and 60s. I'm going to get that out and we're going to load up some ammo on that. I think that's going to be a fun video. But what we're going to do right now is, that was 25 rounds, so I'm going to switch the camera angles. Alright, this seems to be a camera angle everybody enjoys because you can actually see the turret turning. And you can see everything happening. So once again, we are going to size it and come down, go to the expanding power die. I'm going to pull it off here real quick, zero out my scale, make sure my powder is still where I want it. That just dropped the powder. And expand the case to put the bullet in. And we are still right there where we want to be. Now we moved it forward. It went to the seating die. And then crimp die. And then we got our completed round right there. So there's my Saga 45 ACP. One thing I do want to say, let's keep talking about 1911s here for a minute. Gene at Reloading from the Hot Pot let me borrow his T-Sauce 1911, which is a 10mm. And that thing was awesome. And I just want to tell you guys, I'm pretty impressed with those T-Sauce 1911s. They got like a tactical model that's got a rail on it and stuff, and 45 ACP. I tell you what, guys, I would probably say if you want a 1911, pick up one of those T-Sauces. I was pretty impressed with that. They make a GI model that's reasonably priced. Even that one that comes with the rail and all the fancy stuff. Price isn't too bad on that either. Quality of it was pretty good. Like I said, I got a Ruger SR 1911, and I could compare the quality about equal to the Ruger on that. Very impressed with those T-Sauce 1911s. I think that one, I might have had a couple feeding issues, only because the rounds I was shooting in it, I actually made for my Smith & Wesson 10mm. So once again, I might have had a case overall length issue with it, but I only had like 2 or 3 issues, so it wasn't that bad. But man, that gun just shot so nice. You could tell by the smile on my face shooting it that I really enjoyed it. So 1911s, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more budget minded, take a look at those T-Sauces, man. Those things were nice. Alright, we talked about the Smith 45, 1911 45s. What should we talk about next? Let's talk about how I'm doing all these reloading videos on these White River primers before I shot any of them. Just because of the way it worked out here. Right now, as I'm making this video, it's December 3rd, 2023. And if you guys know, my in-laws live next door to me and my range is actually on their property. But this has been gun season for deer in Ohio. So this whole week I haven't gone out and shot. I don't like to disturb the hunters in the area with my shooting, doing videos. So I've done all my reloading videos this week on every single one of these primer videos. And I haven't shot any of them yet. a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do like 2 of the reloading videos, go out, do the shooting videos, and by the time I do the last 2 reloading videos, I've already shot them, so I already got an opinion on the primers. But with these, it's all fresh. This is my last batch of 50 of these primers that we're going to test out here, and I haven't shot any. So I have no clue how these things are going to react. And even though the reloading videos are going to come out individually, I'm thinking about doubling up the shooting videos, like doing 9mm and 38 special in one video, and then doing 40 and 45 in the other video. That way there's only 2 videos out on them, and then in the second video I'll give my final thought on these bullets. I think that's the way I'm going to do it, just to keep it less videos, because when I did the TruthSocial primers, I did them all individually, and I kind of think maybe that was a little bit too many videos. So I think I'm going to condense them down into 2 calibers in 2 videos to knock them out to see how these do. But talking about knocking them out after we do this one, we already only have 10 bullets left to do. I like doing these videos like this because I get yapping with you guys, and it makes it go by a lot quicker than if I'm just sitting here not talking. But like I said again, I want to give a huge shout out to Andy79Z28. He's actually the zinc master, but he sent out the lead for me to make these 45 ACP bullets. I was out of these bullets and needed to do some of these videos like this, and he was kind enough to send some lead out to the channel for me to make these up. I really appreciate it when you guys help me out, because if you guys, well, you probably already heard me say I got a muscle disease, so yep, I got a limited income, so I appreciate all the help from you guys with the channel. This is such a great community on here. I have great support, and as long as you guys like these videos, I'll keep making them for you. And I'm so happy of the support that I get from all my YouTube buddies here to help keep this channel going. You guys rock. Because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be making these videos. Alright, we've got 6 more after this. So, let's see, what can we talk about now? Oh, these are small pistol primers, and we're using them in 45 ACP. And when I did the TruthSocials, I did them in 10mm. What do you guys think about small pistol primer 45s and small pistol primer 10mm? I used to be on the side, I absolutely hated it because I had to separate them. But now I'm leaning more towards, I want small pistol primer in my 45 and 10mm, just because right now I can get the small pistol primers cheaper from Republic Ammunition. So I'm actually starting to save up all my brass for that. Actually, Wald at Vihavo channel sent me some 45 ACP small pistol primer brass. And so did Mark Thomas. He sent some out to me. Everybody knows I'm trying to switch over to them, so they're trying to help me out with brass for videos, and I appreciate that, and I thank you guys for that. That just makes it easier and cheaper for me to go buy the primers when I can snag up the cheaper small pistol primers compared to what the price is on large pistol primers. I do have large pistol primers, and I do want to still keep some on hand because I load for 45 Colt, and 45 Colt only comes in large pistol primers. But now we are done in our last round here. Get this loaded up. And there we go with our last round loaded up. Once again, if you guys don't know, we'll do the point test one more time on the final round. Love that sound, and it dropped right out. Drop it back in. We can spin it and it's not hitting the grooves. Hopefully with the little bit longer overall length on these, this gun will function in our shooting test. Let's go back up on top. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, loading up the 45 ACP to test out these White River primers. Like I said in other videos where I was loading these, I'm really hoping these work, because what this does is they're cheaper than the rest of them, and what that'll do is bring the price of all the other ones down. If more companies like this one and they work, so I have high hopes that these work in all these tests. If these end up working out, hopefully they hit the market and people will see videos like this where we're testing them out to see if they work. If they start flooding the market with these, maybe that'll bring the primer price down for all the other primers. Normally I like using CCI, but I would also use Winchester Federal, and my least favorite is Remington. But if that's all I can get my hands on, I would buy the Remington too. Hopefully companies like this come out with a good quality product to bring that price down. So as always, what we're going to do is you guys watch the reloading on this channel, go over to my main channel and see the shooting and see how these performed. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there I have links to Axle Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some of them are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. Others have got discount codes to save you guys some money. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. We are One Nation Under God, and I'll see you all on the next one.